You know, it's a strange thing. We live in an era where confidence is often mistaken for arrogance and femininity for weakness. But there's a profound truth that continues to surface through all the cultural chaos. Authentic, confident women. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply secure in who they are. They drive men absolutely mad. And I don't mean that in a crude or reductive sense. I mean it in the deep biological, psychological, mythological sense, the kind of madness that inspires poetry, war, and the building of civilizations. Now, let's be honest, there's a reason why mythology speaks of sirens and muses and queens. It's because women, particularly women who know who they are, who walk with a quiet fire in their soul, they captivate. And you ask yourself, why? What is it about them that pulls men like gravity? Well, let's talk about it. 1. They smile like they know a secret. There is something profoundly disarming about a genuine smile. Not the rehearsed smile you find on the face of someone trying to impress or fit in, but the kind that slowly appears, unforced, unannounced, and carries with it the weight of a quiet confidence. It's a smile that says, I've been through enough to know who I am and I've made peace with it. When a confident woman smiles, it isn't performative. It doesn't seek approval. That smile is not a request. It's a revelation. It tells a story. Not in words, but in resonance. A man who encounters that kind of smile senses something beyond surface-level attraction. He senses depth. He senses mystery. He senses strength that isn't loud, but deeply rooted. There is neuroscience behind this too. A genuine smile, the Duchenne smile, which engages the muscles around the eyes, activates reward centers in the brain of the observer. This type of smile is contagious because it transmits a sense of safety, connection, and joy. But even beyond the science, the psychology of that smile speaks to something primal. It signals inner peace, emotional intelligence, and self-awareness, all qualities that men are deeply drawn to, often without fully understanding why. Now, why is this important? Because in today's world, so many people are chasing happiness in external forms: achievements, likes, validation, performance. The confident woman, the truly confident one, has learned, often the hard way, that none of those things bring sustainable joy. She smiles not because everything is perfect, but because she has discovered the art of being whole in a broken world. That kind of smile doesn't just look good, it feels good. It radiates presence. And men, especially men who are seeking more than aesthetic appeal, can feel that. They feel the difference between a smile that's designed to manipulate and one that is born out of internal harmony. One is transactional, the other is transformational. One says, I want something from you. The other says, I am already full, and I offer this moment without needing anything in return. That's rare. That's beautiful. And that's exactly what makes it irresistible. Here's the paradox. The women who most captivate others are rarely the ones trying to do so. Instead of trying to charm their way into someone's heart, they focus on cultivating a deeper relationship with themselves. And as a result, they develop a kind of charisma that can't be faked. A lightness, a warmth, a magnetism that is encoded in something as simple and as profound as a smile. Think about it from a symbolic perspective. A smile, in many ancient cultures, is not just a sign of happiness. It's a signal of openness, of receptivity, of trust. When a confident woman smiles, she's not declaring her superiority or hiding behind a mask of positivity. She's simply saying, I am here, I am grounded, I'm not afraid of vulnerability. And that in itself is powerful. Because real confidence isn't the absence of insecurity. It's the ability to walk alongside it and smile anyway. It's the capacity to hold life's contradictions, joy and pain, hope and disappointment, strength and softness, without collapsing into cynicism or defensiveness. It's the kind of groundedness that makes a person incredibly attractive, not because they demand attention, but because their energy naturally draws it in. So when a man sees a woman with that kind of smile, that effortless, knowing, joyful smile, it strikes him, not because she's trying to be noticed, but because she's at peace with being unseen. And ironically, that's what makes her impossible to ignore. They speak softly, but with conviction. In a noisy world, volume is often confused with value. We're told to speak up, speak fast, speak often, to take up space, as if loudness equates to power. And yet the truly confident woman does something radically different. She doesn't shout to be heard. She doesn't fill the silence with clutter. She speaks softly, but when she does, people listen. Why? Because her words carry weight. Because she's not talking to gain approval. She's speaking to reveal truth. You see, confidence isn't about volume. It's about clarity. It's about the knowledge that you don't need to dominate a room to influence it. The confident woman has learned to conserve her energy. She doesn't engage in verbal acrobatics to prove her intelligence. She knows the power of restraint. She understands that silence is not weakness. It's discipline. It's wisdom. And when she chooses to speak, she does so with precision. Men are instinctively drawn to that kind of presence. There's something deeply magnetic about a woman who doesn't overshare, who isn't constantly broadcasting her worth, but instead chooses her words like she chooses her friends, with care. When she speaks, she doesn't seek to impress. She seeks to express. Her tone isn't aggressive, but it's unmistakably firm. Her speech doesn't demand attention. It commands it naturally. Psychologically, this dynamic touches something ancient in the masculine psyche. Men are often wired to protect, to pursue, to find meaning. When they encounter a woman who speaks with calm certainty, who isn't vying for dominance but radiates quiet authority, they sense she is grounded. And groundedness is irresistible because it signals emotional stability. Think about the cultural archetype of the wise queen, the priestess, the philosopher. These women don't scream, they teach, they don't belittle, they elevate. Their words come not from a need to control, but from a place of centered self-respect, and that's what separates them from the crowd. There's also a critical emotional component here. A woman who speaks softly but with conviction is usually someone who has mastered emotional regulation. She doesn't let impulsive emotions dictate her dialogue. She pauses, she considers, she listens, and then, when she does respond, it's thoughtful, it's balanced, it's mature. That level of communication creates safety, and safety for men is a highly underrated form of attraction. It doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean tolerating nonsense. It means this: you can speak to me and you'll be heard. I don't need to overpower you to feel powerful. In that space, true connection is born. Not a performance, not a power struggle, but an exchange of meaning. It's important to understand, confidence in communication doesn't require a loud platform. It requires inner alignment. The woman who speaks softly with conviction has usually done her inner work. She's examined her wounds. She's healed her voice. She knows what she believes, and more importantly, why she believes it. So when she speaks, it's not just noise, it's a signal, and signals, when rare, are deeply attractive. Especially to men who are tired of confusion, tired of superficiality, and tired of the constant shouting match that often characterizes modern dating dynamics. There's elegance in quiet power. There's seduction in sincerity. There's fire in restraint. And the confident woman who embodies that, who brings poise instead of performance, who expresses herself without domination, she stands out. Not because she's trying to, but because the world is starving for that kind of calm clarity. Men feel it. They may not always be able to articulate it, but they recognize it. Her voice stays with them, not because it was loud, but because it meant something. 3. They laugh fully, without apology. Laughter is one of the purest expressions of emotional freedom. It's a spontaneous burst of joy, a release of tension, a signal of trust and vulnerability. And when a confident woman laughs, truly laughs, it's not filtered through self-consciousness or shaped to fit societal expectations. It's authentic. It's full. It's hers. This may seem trivial at first, but it's not. In fact, it's deeply symbolic. Because in order to laugh freely, a woman must feel safe within herself. She must feel that she doesn't need to police her joy, suppress her spirit, or downplay her personality for fear of seeming too much. In a world that so often tells women to shrink, to take up less space, to smile politely instead of laugh openly, the confident woman reclaims her space through laughter. This kind of laughter isn't performative. It's not designed to win approval. It's not the shallow, high-pitched giggle that comes from insecurity or the need to be liked. No. This is laughter that comes from a woman who is unapologetically alive. It's rooted in her gut. It rises through her chest, and it spills into the room without asking for permission. It's the kind of laughter that invites others to exhale, to let go of their masks, to feel at ease. Men notice this, often subconsciously. When a woman laughs with abandon, it signals emotional richness. It signals that she has the capacity to experience and express joy, not as a fleeting moment, but as a natural state of being. And this is key. Men who are emotionally attuned don't just want beauty or intelligence or charm. They want aliveness. They want to be around someone who reminds them of what it feels like to be fully present, to be fully human. The confident. Woman's laughter is a kind of rebellion, a defiance of the cultural expectation that femininity must always be composed, always in control, always careful. Her laughter says, "I am not here to impress you. I am here to be me. And if you're lucky, you get to enjoy it with me." That mindset is profoundly attractive, not because it's arrogant, but because it's free. And freedom, true emotional and psychological freedom, is one of the rarest and most magnetic qualities anyone can possess. They don't chase. They attract in many social dynamics, particularly in the realm of dating and relationships. There's a tendency for people to chase what they believe they lack. They pursue validation, attention, connection, not because they are full, but because they are empty. The confident woman doesn't fall into that trap. She doesn't chase, she attracts. This principle isn't just about romance, it's a life philosophy. She knows her worth, not in a boastful or entitled way, but in a grounded, lived-in way. She has taken the time to get to know herself, her values, her standards, her limits. And because of this, she doesn't feel the need to run after people, to beg for attention, or to convince anyone of her value. When she enters a room, she doesn't scan it hoping to be noticed. She doesn't manipulate conversations to center herself. She simply is. And in that presence, calm, self-assured, quiet, she becomes magnetic. This is not magic. It's self-respect made visible. Men respond to this deeply, especially those who are mature enough to recognize it. The man who has done some soul-searching, who understands his own desires and wounds, will be drawn to a woman who doesn't need him to complete her, but who chooses him from a place of fullness. This flips the dynamic on its head. When a woman stops chasing, She steps into her own gravity. She becomes a force. She's not trying to pull people in. She simply exists in such a state of integrity that the right people can't help but be drawn to her. Attraction, in this sense, is not about strategy. It's about authenticity. It's not about games. It's about boundaries. It's not about performance. It's about presence. The confident woman has learned that when you chase something, you often repel it. But when you cultivate your own garden, when you focus on becoming instead of pursuing, the right things find their way to you. That's not passivity. That's power.